Okay, recording this video on Sunday, the 22nd of January 2023. It's just gone 1:27 p.m. Chicago time. Do hope you are doing well. So it's time for another weekend futures market recap, where I go through 15 of the largest futures markets and I show you what I am seeing on my charts. And these weeks are flying by. Seems like moments ago we did the last one of these. But before getting to the charts, a couple of notes. One an admin note, another one a kind of a general interest note. First of all, general interest. If you follow big wave surfing, they are running the Eddy at the moment. The Eddy is a contest named after Eddie Arkau, a famous lifesaver on the north shore of Oahu. And they only run this contest when the waves are absolutely huge. The last time they ran it was in 2016. And they're running it at the moment. So if you go search on YouTube, you can go see it live or see the highlights. It's always kind of interesting to watch. It's massive here. I'm on the island of Kauai at a place called Hanalei, and they say it's 14 feet, but kind of swells are going to be rising during the day to 18 feet. And you know it's big when over the trees you can see this sea mist from the crashing waves. So I've not been down to the beach yet, just been looking at it on the cams, but I'm going to find myself a quiet corner to go surf today. Anyway, so that was general interest. The other one is an admin note on the Emini-Watch website. So every year, beginning of January, I tried to update the Emini Futures feature article explaining the how the Emini Futures works. And there's three important things that have been kind of updated on this feature article. One is the new contract symbols for this year. The second piece of information is the rollover dates. And the third one is the trading calendar. So you can see each of those kind of important updates for this year. Explained contract rollover here in the rollover dates, and at the bottom we also have the trading calendar. Now you might also use this handy little feature which we've had around for years and years on the site, but some people don't know about it, and it's the Emini trading calendar that's put out by Emini-Watch, where you can add this calendar to your Google Calendar, or if you use other calendar applications, I believe there are other formats that you can kind of import into your calendar. Anyway, it's a useful way of tracking the rollover days and the holidays for trading. Plus, I also include the seasonal trades here on the site, on this calendar. So for example, here in April, you can see that we have a trading holiday on the 7th of April. I believe that is Good Friday, and we also have the beginning of the seasonal trade kind of lining up for tax time here. If you don't know about the stock market seasonality kind of trades, that's also explained on the website, and I'll put links to these articles in the description of this video. The seasonal trades, I think there are 5 of them that are pretty useful to kind of understand. So if you import that calendar into your Google Calendar, you'll be able to track the rollover days, the holidays, and the seasonal trades there. So there we go, a little bit of an admin update. Let us get to the charts, and we're going to start with the Emini first because we had a super important day on Friday with the Emini. So this is the traditional view of the better indicators, where we've got 2 panels side by side. Left hand side, everything to do with volume, better momentum, a volume based momentum indicator beneath the price bars, and on the price bars themselves we have better Pro Am, which is using the average trade size to identify professional and amateur activity. Amateurs in yellow and professionals in blue. Right hand side, everything to do with price, where we use better sine wave. This is the plate of spaghetti beneath the price bars to calculate the cyclical activity in 3 different time frames, and then breaks of cyclical support and resistance gives us trending signals. So we're in confirmed uptrend because we are in an uptrend on volume and an uptrend on price, and that means the background is printed in this kind of red color here. And Friday's activity was super important because we were supposed to be kind of moving down in this cyclical energy on the lowest time frame here, where we had our cross a few days ago, ended up being an end of trend signal, and we were kind of moving down, but we closed above that cyclical resistance there, and we've got cyclical support coming in on the intermediate time frame. So this is super important. I've been saying for a couple of months now that I believe we're in an uptrend. The weakness that we've had has been held every time. We've got getting higher lows each time we kind of come into pushing down on this market, and so Friday's activity means this could be a higher low than we had down here, breaking above this kind of 40-50 level will be super important. If we get above this 4,120 level, that'll be a real sign of strength. So that's what I've been looking for and trading in that direction over the last couple of months, and things are kind of working out well. When we go down the different time frames, you'll be able to see why we got this bounce. The 135-minute chart next. So we've got exhaustion sell, bullish divergence. So we've done on the downside in terms of exhaustion selling. The bullish divergence signal was right on the zero line, and I always say when we see bullish divergence by the zero line, look for a flush pattern next, which is when we have another kind of deep push down, exhaustion close to the exhaustion volume levels, and it got super close there. And if we get confirmation, so this starts to trend back up, that will print a flush pattern there. So potentially, kind of with the last 2 or 3 days activities, what we put in is flushing out the last of those sellers. And I don't know if you noticed, but I try to keep away from kind of the general market news, but there's a lot of bearish kind of commentary kind of going on right now, and that could account for that kind of flushing out of all of those kind of sellers, and that's why the signal is called a flush signal. So that's kind of looking good. On the 45-minute chart here, I talked about this in the last video, that we were moving back up to this kind of area to kind of test, and it'd be really important what we would see over the next few days. So on the last weekend's video, I'm not sure where we were kind of moving in this general kind of direction, and we came up to Rambo patterns. So Rambo patterns is when the move is being led by the amateurs, and Rambo stands for potential reversal of an amateur breakout. So this kind of breakout is being led by the amateurs, therefore a little bit suspect. We get some weakness after that, after we break below the lows of those amateur bars there, bang, and that's where the professionals stepped in down here. Stair step the better prime trailing stop down, exhaustion sell patterns kind of down here. We've rallied from there, so getting through 40.35, 40.35 is going to be super important. As soon as we do that, it's like, you know, people recognize that we're in an uptrend and they're going to have to jump on board. But these patterns are really important. We found resistance with the Rambo patterns here. We sold off, and then we got caught by professionals stepping into the market here. 15-minute chart, let me just go back. Yeah, it's just some signals here. So exhaustion sell, bullish divergence, and then we rally, another exhaustion sell from there, getting rid of all these sellers at that point, and it allows us to kind of clear the way for a clean break and an uptrend in this market. 15-minute chart, yep, got caught. It was support in the highest time frame here, so we got that weakness with exhaustion sell, and it's not broken into a confirmed uptrend on the 15-minute chart here. We're above the trailing stop on Pro-Am, which is good, but we've not broken into a trending move on the 15-minute chart. We got resistance to step in on the 15-minute chart here, so we'll have a little bit of trouble when that kind of comes along. We'll have some weakness from there, but as soon as we bust up through the resistance that is plotted by that intermediate time frame, then that'll take us into a confirmed uptrend on the 15-minute chart. Next, just looking at the tick bar charts, the 13,500 tick bar chart. It's just interesting this because it includes the day and night session. With all these minute charts, we're just looking at the day session at es.d, so that's day session data only. But as soon as we're kind of going down to the tick bar charts, we can look at the day and night session with an at ES continuous contract. And it was a super nice pattern kind of down here at 3,900. You can see all the confluence of end of trend patterns kind of come together. It was a classic triple here on better sine wave. Let me just bump that up. Here we go. So pullback to end of trend on the lowest time frame, finding us a left shoulder here. Pullback to end of trend on the intermediate time frame, finding us a head kind of move here, and then we start to rally from there when we have cyclical support coming in on the highest time frame. And that's kind of a triple going on here, where we have support on all three time frames, the low, the intermediate, and the high, all coming together. Beautiful. And we break into an uptrend as soon as we start breaking above cyclical resistance levels here, and we're through the lowest time frame and the intermediate time frame. Bang, we're kind of setting off to the upside. And it was also a nice exhaustion sell, bullish divergence, and a flush pattern going on here. Bang, bang, bang. So there we go. Been bullish on the Emini. It's kind of working out, and I think we're going to see some nice activity over the next couple of weeks as everybody realizes that you know, the market's kind of not doing what the pundits want it to do. So let us now go to the triple signals on the different time frames. So first of all, let's look at that 13,500 tip bar chart. Now, again, another little kind of intro to these charts. This is a simplified view of the better indicators where we're using the best of the better indicators, where we've got the background printed in red or gray based on better sine wave, giving us an overbought in terms of a grey signal, or red over sold, so that's better sine wave. Better momentum is giving us our exhaustion sell, bullish divergence and flush patterns there, and then the third signal comes from better priam, where we see the blue professional bars and the trailing stop that trails below those blue professional bars. When all three of those non-correlated indicators come together, we have triple signals. The week's activity marked by vertical yellow solid lines here. So this is this week's activity. I said last week's video we were going to come into a little bit of trouble. I thought it was going to happen Monday into Tuesday, but it took a couple of days to kind of roll over, and then we finally got that kind of sell-off. But it's set up the other way with our exhaustion sell, bullish divergence, flush pattern down here, oversold, blue professional bars coming at the lows. We break the trailing stop, bang, and we get a triple signal going on there. So we've had one of those go off on the E-mini, which is nice. 10-year bonds, let's look at those. Those have been a little bit weak. With this week's activity, at the end of last week, we had a little bit of a sell-off, but it ended up with exhaustion sell, and a blue professional bar kind of stepped in. We went to test the highs again, and we got another kind of triple signal going on here. And we've had weakness after that. So that's 10-year bonds. Now, I was long corn last week, took profits at the beginning of the week, and I'll just show you that really quickly on corn. So got into corn because of this break out here. It was very messy at the lows down here, but we had exhaustion sell, bullish divergence. We also had oversold on the background, and we had blue professional bars. Didn't kind of come in at the lows, but this set of blue professional bars here was getting us going, breaking out through that kind of pretty wide kind of congestion band there, and that's the reason for getting into that trade. There was not a triple signal because we had these signals in the way. So exhaustion sell, bearish divergence doesn't help. We need that to happen kind of later on in the move. So that's why it didn't signal as a triple. But got into this move based on that break, and that was exhaustion sell getting the move going. We also had some weakness at the beginning of the week, but we had exhaustion buy there again, getting the move going out of this channel, and that broke into these highs, and I took profits as soon as we got exhaustion buy and blue professional bars at those highs, and that was kind of super nice. So that was kind of corn, and I rolled into euro. Now, Euro's been strong a couple of weeks. A couple of weeks ago I was long euro based on this triple signal here. But for this kind of period, we've been in a pretty kind of tight congestion zone. We did have a short signal kind of midweek, but this one didn't work out, and we were just kind of fluffing around here. And the reason why that was not a particularly good signal was we didn't have blue professional bars at these highs, kind of taking profits. But the professionals stepped in down here on the lows. We had a whole series of exhaustion sell patterns, getting rid of sellers just above 108. And then we've rallied, and we've had a whole bunch on Friday's activity at the end of trade, or kind of midday, a whole bunch of blue professional bars there. So I'm expecting that to be a gathering pattern, waiting to bust up out of this kind of channel here. So getting above 109 and then seeing where this market goes will be interesting. So I'm long euro at the moment, and I think the other kind of forex contracts aren't as clear in my mind as that kind of euro set up, but I'll show you them as well. This British pound, we're actually signaling kind of short at the moment. We didn't have blue professional bars at those highs, and we're breaking back above the better primes trailing stop there. So although it's signaling short, not kind of convinced there on the British pound, and it'll be moving in the same direction as euro anyway. Aussie dollar, we've had some signals a couple of weeks ago, kind of long continued kind of strength in the market here after topping out a little bit, but no blue professional bars at the highs, exhaustion sell, bullish divergence, flush patterns here, kind of rallying a little bit. Again, not a clear signal on the Aussie dollar, but I would expect it to rally because of strength in the euro, weakness in the USD. And then we've got long signals here in Japanese yen. This one this week wasn't particularly good. There were no blue professional bars really around there. That was a bit of a late signal. This was a better kind of rallying signal. Yes, we had some blue professional bars taking profits at the highs there, but as soon as we come back into that whole area where we had a whole bunch of blue professional bars kind of coming in at the lows, they stepped in, bought it, exhaustion buy, getting the move going, and we've had a triple signal there. So expecting strength in those currencies and weakness in the USD. So that's the Emini, the bonds, we got the Forex, and we've done corn. Let's just look at soybeans. Soybeans, no signals, kind of last couple of weeks, nothing much interesting going on there. And wheat. Wheat, this is potentially interesting for continuation of strength here. We've had exhaustion. No, we haven't had exhaustion sell. That's the problem with wheat. It's not set up as a triple signal because we never got exhaustion sell. These short signals came in because we had exhaustion buy, bearish divergence, but we didn't have them there. This is almost getting the move going, exhaustion buy, bearish divergence, and we've come back to test into that zone where the professionals stepped in here and here. And so we've got some strength going on at the moment with another sign of strength, a little upward facing arrow there. So potentially wheat is strong at the moment too. So gold, silver, let's look at those. So gold, we had these signals last week, didn't work out, continue to rally, but now we got blue professional bars taking some profits here, but no exhaustion buy. So gold is continuing to be strong, but no signals, I would say there. Silver had some weakness here with some signals that kind of worked out. Let's see, this is an important point. We've rallied back under the lip here, where the pros kind of stepped in, and that's a stair-step trade there where the trailing stop from Better Pro-Am kind of steps down. So a break below this kind of 2380 kind of level, 2390 level would show weakness in silver, and that could be good for a kind of trade to the downside. But you know, if we've got weakness in the USD, that would tend to suggest that there's strength in kind of gold and silver, so not convinced there. Bitcoin continues to rally. We're back up to 23. We've had no signals since the kind of long signals some weeks ago, but exhaustion sell, blue professional bars, bullish divergence comes in, oversold, bang, we continue break up. The reason why this didn't signal a triple was because by the time it broke through Better Pro-Am here, we were actually overbought when it comes to better sine wave. So you know, the signals are generated by some very simple code. If you're a subscriber to the indicators, you can see the open code that generates the signals, and so I've kept it super simple. But sometimes it does kind of miss some of these patterns where it all doesn't kind of line up perfectly. But that's the give and take of system kind of trading. So let's look at crude next. Crude oil chart here, and on the longer time frame charts in crude, I think we're looking like we're going to break to the high side, but not kind of super convincing from this chart. We've had a couple of short signals in the last week, but we didn't really have blue professional bars at these highs here, and they're based off this exhaustion buy and bearish divergence pattern here, and that's really kind of getting the move going. So those aren't good for kind of a short trade, and we're busted above a Better Pro-Am here. And again, if the USD weakens, then potentially crude is going to strengthen. We could bust out of here. Anyway, so that's worth looking at this week for a long trade in crude. Natural gas continues to weaken. We've had a whole bunch of short signals over the last couple of weeks, and the market's just trending down and down and down. And we have not had exhaustion sell on the downside, although the blue professional bars are starting to kind of come in. And then lastly, copper. Copper is looking continued to be kind of strong at the moment. We've got a whole family here of sign of strength. Blue professional bars here kind of buying into that dip and getting the move going. So, yep, we had some weakness after that triple signal, but it's kind of caught in this area and looks like that might be continuing this uptrend in copper. So there we go, a quick rip around the charts. I'll be interested to see how this euro trade works out. Hopefully we bust above 109. I think the Emini is also going to do well in general this week. And let's see if kind of crude finds direction and starts to bust above 82. So there we go. Hope your trading is going well and looking forward to next week's trade.